done, but we did it. They called it a medical miracle, and that's what they're calling it right now, a medical miracle. Another administration would have taken 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to 10 years to develop a vaccine. We did it in 9 months. We grieve for every life lost, and we pledge in their memory to wipe out this horrible pandemic once and for all. When the virus took its brutal toll on the world's economy, we launched the fastest economic recovery our country has ever seen. We passed nearly $4 trillion in economic relief, saved or supported over 50 million jobs, and slashed the unemployment rate in half. These are numbers that our country has never seen before. We created choice and transparency in healthcare, stood up to Big Pharma in so many ways, but especially in our effort to get favored nations clauses added, which will give us the lowest prescription drug prices anywhere in the world. We passed VA choice, VA accountability, right to try, and landmark criminal justice reform. We confirmed 3 new justices of the United States Supreme Court. We appointed nearly 300 federal judges to interpret our Constitution as written. For years, the American people pleaded with Washington to finally secure the nation's borders. I am pleased to say we answered that plea and achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. We have given our brave border agents and heroic ICE officers the tools they need to do their jobs better than they have ever done before, and to enforce our laws and keep America safe. We proudly leave the next administration with the strongest and most robust border security measures ever put into place. This includes historic agreements with Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, along with more than 450 miles of powerful new wall. We restored American strength at home and American leadership abroad. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. We reclaimed our sovereignty by standing up for America at the United Nations and withdrawing from the one-sided global deals that never served our interest. And NATO countries are now paying hundreds of billions of dollars more than when I arrived just a few years ago. It was very unfair. We were paying the cost for the world. Now the world is helping us. And perhaps most importantly of all, with nearly $3 trillion, we fully rebuilt the American military, all made in the USA. We launched the first new branch of the United States Armed Forces in 75 years, the Space Force. And last spring, I stood at Kennedy Space Center in Florida and watched as American astronauts returned to space on American rockets for the first time in many, many years. We revitalized our alliances and rallied the nations of the world to stand up to China like never before. We obliterated the ISIS caliphate and ended the wretched life of its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. We stood up to the oppressive Iranian regime and killed the world's top terrorist, Iranian butcher Qasem Soleimani. We recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. As a result of our bold diplomacy and principled realism, we achieved a series of historic peace deals in the Middle East. Nobody believed it could happen. The Abraham Accords opened the doors to a future of peace and harmony, not violence and bloodshed. It is the dawn of a new Middle East, and we are bringing our soldiers home. I am especially proud to be the first president in decades who has started no new wars. Above all, we have reasserted the sacred idea that in America, the government answers to the people. Our guiding light, our North Star, our unwavering conviction has been that we are here to serve the noble, everyday citizens of America. Our allegiance is not to the special interests, corporations, or global entities. It's to our children, our citizens, and to our nation itself. As president, my top priority, my constant concern, has always been the best interests of American workers and American families. I did not seek the easiest course, By far, it was actually the most difficult. I did not seek the path that would get the least criticism. I took on the tough battles, the hardest fights, the most difficult choices, because that's what you elected me to do. Your needs were my first and last unyielding focus. This, I hope, will be our greatest legacy. Together, we put the American people back in charge of our country. We restored self-government. We restored the idea that in America, no one is forgotten because everyone matters and everyone has a voice. We fought for the principle that every citizen is entitled to equal dignity, equal treatment, and equal rights because we are all made equal by God. Everyone is entitled to be treated with respect, to have their voice heard, and to have their government listen. You are loyal to your country, and my administration was always loyal to you. We worked to build a country in which every citizen could find a great job and support their wonderful families. We fought for the communities where every American could be safe and schools where every child could learn. We promoted a culture where our laws would be upheld, our heroes honored, our history preserved, and law-abiding citizens are never taken for granted. Americans should take tremendous satisfaction in all that we have achieved together. It's incredible. Now, as I leave the White House, I have been reflecting on the dangers that threaten the priceless inheritance we all share. As the world's most powerful nation, America faces constant threats and challenges from abroad. But the greatest danger we face is a loss of confidence in ourselves, a loss of confidence in our national greatness. A nation is only as strong as its spirit. We are only as dynamic as our pride. We are only as vibrant as the faith that beats in the hearts of our people. No nation can long thrive that loses faith in its own values, history, and heroes, for these are the very sources of our unity and our vitality. What has always allowed America to prevail and triumph over the great challenges of the past has been an unyielding and unashamed conviction in the nobility of our country and its unique purpose in history. We must never lose this conviction. We must never forsake our belief in America. The key to national greatness lies in sustaining and instilling our shared national identity. That means focusing on what we have in common, the heritage that we all share. At the center of this heritage is also a robust belief in free expression, free speech, and open debate. Only if we forget who we are and how we got here could we ever allow political censorship and blacklisting to take place in America. It's not even thinkable. Shutting down free and open debate violates our core values and most enduring traditions. In America, we don't insist on absolute conformity or enforce rigid orthodoxies and punitive speech codes. We just don't do that. America is not a timid nation of tame souls who need to be sheltered and protected from those with whom we disagree. That's not who we are. It will never be who we are. For nearly 250 years, in the face of every challenge, Americans have always summoned our unmatched courage, confidence, and fierce independence. These are the miraculous traits that once led millions of everyday citizens to set out across a wild continent and carve out a new life in the Great West. It was the same profound love of our God-given freedom that willed our soldiers into battle and our astronauts into space. As I think back on the past 4 years, one image rises in my mind above all others. Whenever I traveled all along the motorcade route, there were thousands and thousands of people. They came out with their families so that they could stand as we passed and proudly wave our great American flag. It never failed to deeply move me. I knew that they did not just come out to show their support of me. They came out to show me their support and love for our country. This is a republic of proud citizens who are united by our common conviction that America is the greatest nation in all of history. We are and must always be a land of hope, of light and of glory to all the world. This is the precious inheritance that we must safeguard at every single turn. For the past 4 years, I have worked to do just that. From a great hall of Muslim leaders in Riyadh to a great square of Polish people in Warsaw, from the floor of the Korean Assembly to the podium at the United Nations General Assembly, and from the Forbidden City in Beijing to the shadow of Mount Rushmore, I fought for you, I fought for your family, I fought for our country. Above all, I fought for America and all it stands for, and that is safe, strong, proud, and free. Now, as I prepare to hand power over to a new administration at noon on Wednesday, I want you to know that the movement we started is only just beginning. There's never been anything like it. The belief that a nation must serve its citizens will not dwindle, but instead only grow stronger by the day. As long as the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. Our communities will flourish, our people will be prosperous, our traditions will be cherished, our faith will be strong, and our future will be brighter than ever before. I go from this majestic place with a loyal and joyful heart, an optimistic spirit, and a supreme confidence that for our country and for our children, the best is yet to come. Thank you and farewell. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Well, there you have it. Allegedly the farewell address from the Charlie Kirk Show. This is Central Happenings Network. I'm your host, Bellagio Sampler. Let's get some music on. What do you think that was all about? I think January 22nd is a day that we need to be aware of. The Supreme Court case goes in. Like Trump said, it's only just begun. And people that have been around for a long time, the old friends, they're not going anywhere. The Q posters aren't going anywhere. The Biz Marines aren't going anywhere. The shills aren't going anywhere. I suggest we all get nice and comfy in this prison called reality. And we just wait for the show. Right now, the dot is pink. Happens very rarely. Been pink for the past hour. What do you guys think? Let me pull up the chat. Lower the music in my ear. You guys are thinking it's a deep fake, and at the very least, odd that it's pre-recorded. Very good questions. Very odd, these pre-recorded videos, right? Very odd. That one looked better than the last one. I'll put that out there, you know? But still, very odd stuff. He barely took any breaths in his famous sniffling, right? Mrs. Clinton had a cute message for us today. We're gonna check it all out. The dot is pink. We're gonna start off with this report that's been going around about COGCON2, COGCON1. You've heard of DEF CON from famous movies like War Games. Entering COGCON2. And this completely, I gotta find the proper correlated picture here. 1 second. Basically, White House Anon from months ago, from late December, maybe late November, that said they would be working off-site is confirmed if this COGCON is true. These are allegedly text messages that the soldiers were getting, or these people in... Oh, I had to put the window back up. Here we go, back up. Allegedly, these are the text messages people were getting. The White House has set continuity of government conditions to 2. No action is required by you at this time. As an emergency relocation group member, you are reminded that should an order of continuity of operations occur, you must report to an alternate operating facility within 4 hours. Press respond 1 on your text message if you acknowledge, 2 if you acknowledge and you're not capable of reporting within desired time frame, 3 if you're not able to report to the operating facility. Very odd stuff. I have to check behind the scenes. My Discord. I remember we were looking at, I have it somewhere. White House Anon. Very odd executive orders being passed the last 24 to 48 hours. Very odd whole news networks going dark, like NBC, ABC, CBS. You gotta watch a couple shows ago. Don't think the shows are ever outdated because there's no happening, or these are timestamps and time capsules from back in time. And we covered the White House Anon. And if this is true, you see here that alternate operating facilities within accordance with agency continuity plans to ensure readiness for activation at all times. Continuity plan is fully operational within 4 hours. Pretty interesting. So again, we have all these pieces on the chessboard at the same time and same events happening. You have XRP Schizocoin, which I have now invested in, my first cryptocurrency that I've bought into. Nothing crazy. And I had some great people out there donate. Somebody out there who wants to remain anonymous donated 150 XRP to me. Other people donated 20 XRP, 22. So, you know, but I think it's funny because they have been delisted today, a day before Biden comes in. Biden and Harris. That happening with all the executive orders. Let's pull one up right now. Executive order on protecting law enforcement officers, judges, prosecutors, and their families from a day ago. Protecting them from all sorts of stuff. Doxing, harassment, physical and non-physical threats. Very odd, very odd. So, no one really quite knows if that's real, if it's not. This on top of today, Gina Haspel is saying she's going to leave the CIA. Very big if true. This looks like it's from a video game. Doesn't look real at all, but very big if true. Just in by disclose.tv, Haspel announces she is leaving the CIA. Very odd timing. Why? You know, somebody who hates Trump, you think she'd stay in. Obviously, Biden would elect new people in their due time, but there's people that are retiring that still have a year left of service, like the head of the Census Bureau. Head of the Census Bureau is gone, retiring as of today. There's rumors that Michael Pence wants to retire today. Resign. Very odd. Why wouldn't you just wait till tomorrow? We could talk about the whole 2 more weeks meme, right? But I think we have to at least wait till tomorrow. to see what's about to go down with the military, with foreign agencies and assets and governments coming against us, possibly the troops on the ground. Gina Haspel terminated, CIA obliterated, chills literally shid, like the shed shedding in Fard, their pants. The call that saved the Republic. Love it. Love the meme. This anonymous Anon is saying Biden will get harmed. This is what from 4chan. This Anon is saying that he will be replaced by Harris. Conservatives smeared as terrorist for 20 years. Beijing Biden canonized. Beijing party in control of USA. Kamala president. 4chan shut down. Even I, a frog, at risk of getting in trouble for crap posting through CAPTCHA. Enjoy your FEMA camps, boys. This is it. Not saying it's over, yada yada. Well, is this the Illuminati plan? We do not know. But we do know that a couple weeks ago, when the whole original Q post about Red 1, Red 2 came out, they said that when Pompeo starts posting at quicker intervals, today it went from 15 minutes per post to 10 minutes down to 5, down to every minute. Very interesting. Maybe that aligns with something. Remember, the military says on TV that they were going to take over peacefully. Let's listen to this. We'll get some new music after too.
Commanding General of the District of Columbia National Guard. Major, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you start out by saying what the current threat level is? Do you have what you need in place to counter it?
Good morning, sir. I do believe we have everything. If I can first say happy holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King, and please allow me to say how proud I am of the almost 25,000 National Guardsmen who have come in from all 50 states and territories to help support the Secret Service and the police departments with a peaceful transition of military power. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for that, sir.
Peaceful transition, did he say to military power or of military?
Transition of military power.
To me, it sounds like he says, but still, it's still alarming to me. Peaceful transition of military power could make more sense than to.
50 states and territories to help support the Secret Service and the police departments with a peaceful transition of military power. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for that, sir.
So the question was, do I have enough?
Yes,
sir. I believe we do.
And tell us what the role of the National Guard is going to be. You just said they're going to be there to assist law enforcement. Are they trained for policing activities? What can they do? What can't they do? What are they trained for?
So we're trained principally for civil disturbance. We practice it yearly. We rehearse it when we get here. So we are the backup layered protection for the secret.
Okay, you heard that. Very interesting, but not out of the ordinary. Let's take a look at this Anon when we get there. Every 5 minutes, Pompeo's tweeting. 1 second. He says, calm down. He thinks he has an idea of what is happening. Andrew Cuomo won't be attending Joe Biden's inauguration for safety concerns. Military in control. Here's the White House insider, 100% confirmed about this continuity of government COGCON level 2. It's like DEFCON 1 through 5. White House insider from December 5th, 2020. We covered this on a previous episode. Go back around then and take a look. In any case, the White House leaders are talking about having us work off-site in preparation for these events leading up to the inauguration day. Secondary secured location under executive continuity of government orders. From December 5th, they were planning this back then. So the military, they do have a plan. I don't know about a Q plan. I only trust in God's plan. But the military, they have a plan. And something is happening. They knew about this continuity of government level 2 a long time ago, because from December 5th, we're seeing the whistleblowers talk about it. So you tell me what you think. I don't know. Let's get to the continuity of government skyrockets in search results. Hopefully people are watching my 2 videos on it. I got 2 amazing documentary videos, part 1 and part 2, about continuity of government, bunkers, everything. Calm down, people, this guy's saying. Calm down, people. High IQ in the know here. Here is what's actually happening since 1/6. Now, I don't agree with everything this guy's saying, but let's take a look and listen what he's saying. Pence really did cuck. He is not part of the plan, quote unquote. Trump was counting on him to create a forum congressional inquiry in which election fraud would be heard and presented publicly. But since that didn't work, we had to go to the military. On the evening of 1/6, Trump quietly left DC and spent the next week presenting his case to the military. The Joint Chiefs are traitors, but the top brass of military is really running the military. But the top brass really running the military in strongholds like Cheyenne Mountain are hardcore constitutionalists. Trump spent 24/7 presenting his fraud evidence, some of which the public hasn't seen, like verifiable electronic signatures from China. Trump hoped to convince the military and invoke Insurrection Act, but as I said, these old school military guys are hardcore constitutionalists that won't transgress it. They agreed to occupy DC and have the evidence presented in a full-blown military court case, using the SCOTUS as a front. This is the real reason they are occupying DC, to keep the environment completely under control and present interference from any party, prevent interference from any party. Believe it or not, Trump was not entirely happy with this because he wants to stay in power, but the Constitution says he needs to step down as Congress certifies Biden. The military made it clear they would not support the Insurrection Act as it would cause mass instability. On the other hand, the military has essentially set up an interim government in DC. This is why they are occupying for at least several weeks after the inauguration while the SCOTUS case, again really a front for a military tribunal, is carried out. Ground troops actually currently have no exit strategy, so the military government could go on even longer if needed. Biden's inauguration is not legitimate until the military court is done. This is why he was denied a legitimate public inauguration on the steps of the Capitol. The people running our government still follow Masonic, Kabbalistic rituals. Pay attention. And it is a big deal for a legitimate inauguration to happen on this exact spot, to be recognized by the God and the powers they worship. Both sides think their side will prevail, but the left is trying to gaslight the nation, hoping public sentiment will eventually flip to their side and influence the proceedings. They strongly believe in the mass consciousness, which is how they see God. So don't freak out and don't give in to demoralization. Publicize the SCOTUS case to normies and other ensuing litigation. If the Supreme Court doesn't pan out, that means the military has thrown its weight behind the deep state. But I don't expect these old guys to ever support the CCP-backed globalist shadow government. Military has set up an interim government and will carry out a full court case, using SCOTUS as a front. This is why they're occupying DC, and leftists are still nervous. Trump has to step down per the Constitution, but Biden's inauguration is illegitimate. It is totally in the hands of the military right now. Let's click on his ID. Someone asked him, I'm curious about the legality of the military using SCOTUS. Seems plausible but unlikely. It is all about appearances at this point. They want to keep people from freaking out and potentially starting civil war. That is why they are going overkill to ensure the SCOTUS case is fair and there's no interference. Excuse me, pardon me. Let's read what you guys are saying, then we're going to continue what he's saying. So again, this sounds very plausible. There is a SCOTUS case on January 22nd. Will the tribunal be televised? Will the inauguration of Biden seem legitimate? I guess my question is, will they pull back the veil or is it all a secret? As to the inauguration, they will make it seem as confident as possible. But the people on their side are so out of touch with reality and given to their new reality that it will seem artificial, uncanny, and overly ritualistic to ordinary people. Do not pay attention to them. They are relying on public consciousness to adopt the new reality. This is also why Biden is talking big about legalizing 11 million undocumented people to give the illusion of control and power. He has no power until military leaves Washington, D.C. Put pressure on the SCOTUS case. Make sure it is publicized and widely followed. Very good information. So this Anon says the military is in control. I want to look at a response from this guy. Ready? You're going to like this because this is what like the Alex Joneses are putting out there. And I'll give you my opinion. One second. Trusting the top brass of the military. It sounds better than trusting the Congress. This guy says the military doesn't have any authority to determine constitutionality or whatever. Your LARP literally makes no sense if you have passed a basic civics class. And the OP says, you are willfully and dishonestly naive if you think high school civ will tell you everything about the internal mechanisms of our government. I like that. Good response to the shills. But we're going to talk about Operation Trust. Here we go. So, okay, I sent this to my Discord, so here it is. He's saying, in response to the military set up an OP government, a interim government, he says OP is a fraud. Operation Trust was a Bolshevik counterintelligence operation run from 1921 to 1926, aimed at neutralizing opposition by creating the false impression that a powerful group of military leaders had organized to stop the communist takeover. And OP responds, this trust tact reveals quite a bit of desperation on your side. And I'm going to give you my opinion. My opinion is, why would we need a tactic from 1926? Why would we need a tactic from the Bolshevik Revolution before the invention of social media, computers, iPhones to track every word you say, listen to every conversation you have, record everything to data centers? Why would we need a over 100-year-old operation, Alex Jones, when all their technology has already identified everyone? When organizations like Infowars.com were doing what you're afraid of, allegedly, years before this even came out. Does anyone understand what I'm trying to say? So they're equating the Q operation, the Q artificial intelligence military operation, whether it's a test, a fraud, or what. They're saying that it's all to catalog and expose the Anons out there. I just don't see that happening. Right? So the whole Bolshevik Revolution Trust, whatever it was, Operation Trust, that Alex Jones is kvetching about. So very interesting thread there. It was blue on the 18th. It's pink today, the dot. Google purpose of U.S. Marshals. There's information out there that Chief Lamont Ruffin from D.C. District Court swears in 2,000 U.S. National Guard troops as special deputy U.S. Marshals prior to the U.S. inauguration for president. What is the purpose of a U.S. Marshal? That's what this Anon is trying to get us. Get some new music on. Not this. Not you. Might be better. U.S. Marshals, a 2,000 National Guard has been deputized to be U.S. Marshals. Among their many duties, they apprehend more than half of all federal fugitives, protect the federal judiciary, the Supreme Court case, okay, protecting, operate the witness security program, the Supreme Court case is happening, transport federal prisoners, and seize property acquired by criminals through illegal activities, guys. I don't understand that the writing is any more clear. For the people that claim they are meme war veterans, yet they are swayed by mainstream media, swayed by opinions, swayed by the shills, you have to understand, when every news agency on 2016 tells you that Hillary Clinton's going to win every poll and then Donald Trump ends up winning, these are people that have aces up their sleeve. Something is going to happen tomorrow. I believe the last Anon we read about the SCOTUS court cases. This Anon says America elected someone on the verge of death. We went from strong leader to weak, dementia, confused, insured drinking, diaper sharding president. Do you really think that's going to happen? Can you believe the audacity of the Democrats to want this? Unbelievable. So Google disables search by date. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten, every picture has been reprinted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered. History has stopped. Famous quote. Why would Google stop their service to allow us to search through records by date, week? Like you could search like 3 weeks ago. What happened 3 weeks ago? But nope, they turned that off. Very odd. There was a false fire at the Capitol. We're not going to cover it. You saw the footage. This was from the 18th. The number of C-130s transporting to and from D.C. is absurd. Military transports in and out of soldiers, supplies. Very radical stuff. The name of fencing company in D.C. is called Checkmate. So the company that provided the security fence around the entire perimeter, let me show you something, is called Checkmate. Checkmate Global. And the Q posts, Checkmate King. National Guard troops sleep in Capitol as security fortified ahead of inauguration. Project Looking Glass ties into it. Google has, in their own words, predictive learning technology where they can predict what you're going to do, what you're going to search for, up to 96% accuracy. If Q even alone could be a program like this, looking into the future and pulling information out, very possible. But Checkmate, the same Checkmate that made the fence around Where are you? Son of a... Well, it's down here very tiny. And the window's closed for some reason. Absolutely stunning. Stunning and brave. I'm happy I'm so descriptive in my presentation. The same fence company that put a fence around the whole Capitol, but around the owl, believe it or not. They didn't block off the street. They blocked off the owl. They outlined the owl. Very interesting, right? Where is the checkmate? I want to show you. Want to show you. Here we go. Name of fence and company in DC is called Checkmate. National Guard troops sleep in Capitol fortified ahead of inauguration. Checkmate is the company. Back in 2020, Q had a post on May 19th about this. Somehow it correlates. I've showed you guys way better correlations, but still very odd. Trump always talks about checkmate too. The business term, I don't, you know. But this is the odd part, the symbolism of them outlining the owl. Very crazy. And the Mountain Division of the National Guard is in Washington, D.C. It has been confirmed. Can you imagine that this post from 2020 is being accurately fulfilled, huh? CBS goes dark. Last episode with Titus, we talked about the government's failing. The Estonian government's one of them collapses over corruption investigation. Very wild. At least 60 Italian priests have died after contracting coronavirus. That's all you're ever going to know, that they disappear. They're gone. No questions. We'll go back to that after. Talking about XRP. Again, not next week, not 2 weeks ago, but today, the American governments have decided to shut down XRP transactions. The same day the dot is pink. Pretty crazy stuff. Look closely at this picture of Nancy Pelosi with her National Guard posing around her. Now, you probably can't see it, but there's memes going around. Like 6 out of 7 of these troops are Asian or Chinese. Chinese. It could be half Asian. Chinese. Pretty odd, right? Pretty odd. Look closely. FBI vetting all 2,500 troops. Insider attack feared days before Biden's inauguration. Service members in D.C. vetted by the FBI. The Secret Service is in charge of security of Biden's inauguration. And then we're finding out that there's even more troops than 25,000. Let me see if I can find it. National Guard chief accidentally admits there are 6,500 troops in D.C. after the Marines fly in.
Dan Hogerson, the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, and this evening I'm visiting some of the 65,000 National Guard soldiers and airmen that are on duty today. Today we're in our nation's capital, and our soldiers and airmen are here set up throughout the city to help protect our nation's capital. But at the same time, we have thousands around the country supporting COVID-19 operations, Operation Warp Speed, and we have a multitude of soldiers and airmen deployed overseas in combat operations. I'd especially like to thank the families that are maybe alone tonight, and just let you know that our nation greatly appreciates all your sacrifices and those of your service members, and I could not be prouder to be part of this organization.
So there's way more troops in DC than there's something going on, guys. Something going on. Big time, put it that way. Tomorrow we will officially find out. We're going to open up the phone lines in a little bit, give you guys the opportunity to give your opinions. Snoop Dogg lobbying President Donald Trump to pardon Death Row Records co-founder Michael Harry O'Harris after 3 decades behind bars. Now Trump is a good guy after 4 years of Snoop Dogg this and Snoop Dogg that, right? Pompeo posting every 5 minutes. We talked about that. Super quantum AI versus super DNA editing. Very interesting topic brought up. One of the few rare slide threads that are informative. I wanted to bring this up because right now artificial intelligence exists. And it's guiding nations. It's leading nations to events. Trump called in and they're working on securing the victory. These people are saying. It's all going to go down in the SCOTUS case. Understanding Q as a military operation, it was unrealistic to have a plan so secret that no one would know. The opposite is true. Too many moles. So part of the plan is leak. This rattles the cages and forces their hand to accelerate their plans. Trump was a trap and they fell for it. Why were they so scared of Trump? Phony Russian collusion? Think about the whole Q as questions. Most of Q's posts were designed to frame a picture and allow you to come up with conclusions. I do believe it was a military operation. Whether it was good or bad, that's yet to be decided. Here's a post about, allegedly, this is how they disinfect planes now, with passengers in it, maybe in Europe. They just gas the plane. Pretty radical. And then Andrew Cuomo will not be attending Joe Biden's inauguration tomorrow due to safety concerns. Daily News is reporting. Unbelievable. Let's shut the window down. Let's get the phone lines up. 1 minute. I don't even know if they work anymore. Knock the dust off it and see. Hold on. Whoops. Okay. We need phone number. Go. Call in. Let us know what you think is going to happen tomorrow. What schoolyard information have you heard? Cliches? Are we going to wait 2 more weeks? Is XRP going to $2,000 per coin? Will CHN fund their own news agency? We will find out in the future weeks. Let's see if the phones still work. I don't know. But I want to hear what you guys think is happening. At the very least, Trump isn't going to go away, or the Trumpisms, MAGA, this whole Q phenomenon. We're just making the shills pull their hair out at this point. I enjoy it while they get pissed off. That's almost the more benefit of it. Watching the dilators freak out. I am such a crypto noob, I have no idea what PRQ is. Stevie says it's the Chad coin of 2021. Call and let us know what that is. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Connor in FEMA Region 3.
How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm a big fan of your show.
Thank you. What's on your mind today? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Oof, man. Oof, man. I'll tell you there's something, before I comment on that, and I'm not sure I even can, there's a funny thing that's sort of happening. I can feel it in my body, and I can observe it in, like, Alex Jones and other pundits, where we're right here at the threshold, and there's so much like tension around it that it makes, like Alex Jones, for example, you know, he bitches out and says Q's fake. Like, you know, you've believed for the last 3 years. Do you save any face by changing your position, you know, on the 19th? Do you
I know.
do you lose anything by giving it another week or giving it another 2 weeks? You know, at the same time, like you believed before, you have no more or less information now than when you did then. So, and yet I feel it too, and it's so hard for me to admit that I still believe because of this like social shame aspect of it. But I'll admit it to you, Base Bellagio, I still believe.
I believe that there is something happening behind the scenes. We don't know what it is, and just all these happenings surrounding tomorrow and the 22nd of, you know, with the SCOTUS case and the military there. It's too hard not to just to go back to bed is what they want us to do.
It's got to be something. It's definitely not nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
It's not nothing. Am I going to say that that we'll win tomorrow? That, you know, that we'll get like a 1,000-year REICH with the God Emperor? I don't know. Man, I don't know. I sure hope so, though.
Yeah, I don't know if the military, if that whole meme going around Twitter and Facebook, the military takeover, arrests, and Trump comes on TV with YMCA playing, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but behind the scenes, off of the TVs, in courts in D.C., especially the Supreme Court case, at the very least, that's happening. Like the National Guard's there to protect that. I don't know if you listened about 20 minutes ago, but there was an anon that talked about that it's all about the SCOTUS case.
Yeah, I've heard that. You know, part of me thinks it's another postponement. And you know, again, it's not. I've been on board all this time. I might as well stay on board. I would say one extremely interesting thing about this is how much popular support there is for a military junta, you know, jackbooted soldiers with face-concealing masks, you know, death squatting across the country, stringing up judges. There's a lot of support for this in the United States, and I think that's been proven now. And
on both sides too, like there's this energy subconscious of people tired and fed up and want change, you know, like, and it's been engineered with Obama, and then before that with the last numbnuts, and then into Trump with like somebody that, you know, did something. People out there that say that Trump didn't do any of his promises, Trump didn't do this. Trump was the most effective president we've had in like 60 years. Just look at North Korea, what Trump did there. That's all you got to focus on. Name your favorite president. Tell me when Mitt Romney went to North Korea and shook the leader's hand. You know, all these neocons out there. Let me know when Lindsey Graham went to North Korea, you know?
I mean, I just love him because he made Nose mad. And I know that, you know, he made the right people mad. Again, this is this bloodlust that we all have. Like the only thing that I like about Trump is his enemies. But I like that a lot. I'm going to give you my theory,
Perfect.
my wacky theory, before you cut me loose. You have the grand solar minimum coming pretty soon. I'm sure you're aware of it. Where the sun activity reduces, there are much fewer sunspots, and the magnetic envelope, not right now, and the magnetic envelope that protects the Earth is weakened. More cosmic radiation leaks in, which causes more clouds to seed. Are you aware of this theory?
I have heard about this. Yeah. Yep. Do you think this is
And
the
it's
dark winter?
Well, I think that this is the dark winter, but it also is supposed to have an effect on human consciousness where this syncs up with dark ages, and dark ages aren't just like colder weather, they're also times of strife, times of civilizational forgetting, times of regression. So I think that there is an astrological case to be made for a dark winter, and they're talking about global warming, like that's all a big distraction. It's really global cooling. It's not driven by CO2. It's driven by the sun. It's
Yeah.
highly predictable, and these world leaders know the timing of this process, and they are getting their pieces on the board for this strife, which is I've heard different commentators say it could be like we get in the bottom of it around 2030. We'll be like down in the trough, and we don't really know whether that's 10 years or 20 years down in that trough of low solar activity. But just like the moon makes people act a little crazy, sun makes them act crazy too.
I believe it. Yeah.
All right.
Especially the godless out there like Nancy Pelosi and Biden, and I'm sure the sun and the moon really affect them extra.
I heard once that we have all of this blood imagery in Christianity, and that there was that this was added during the Middle Ages and late Roman Empire because people had a tremendous amount of bloodlust. They loved violent sports. They loved, locking a bear in a cage and throwing people in there, and that this helped carry the message of Christianity, this violent imagery, this imagery of hell, this imagery of suffering and getting cut up, that there's something in us that, there's something even in good Christian people that really wants to see violence.
I disagree with that, but I know what you mean. But like the artwork in the medieval times, they started getting more violent Christian artwork. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Gotcha. Oh, all right. Good theories. I really, a lot of people in chat are agreeing with your sun theory and what's coming. So last thing I want to ask you before you go. So the elite know about this. They're preparing for it. What is the end game for them? They want to hide out underground while the whole Earth freezes over?
No, they just know that it's not going to be the Earth freezing over. It'll just be, 10, 15 bad years, bad crop yields, people being aggressive, people being open-minded towards like war and violence, and enemies, seeing enemies everywhere, betraying everybody all the time, just people acting real super shitty. And it's bad for the economy, and war is like pretty much guaranteed. So they have a long view of this, and they're like, these are how we're going to position ourselves to win these territories in the war. We'll acquire these resources in the war. We'll fleece the populations of the world in this manner, and they'll go to New Zealand. I think New Zealand is the place that they always talk about wanting to go. So they'll just go to New Zealand or some, armored redoubt somewhere.
This is how dumb the elite are too. They pick the smallest island with the least resources, the least growing capabilities. They're like, this is perfect. Let's live here because it looks nice. And they filmed Lord of the Rings here. That's our world leaders, folks, in the New World Order. How dumb they are.
I mean, they're air mobile and transnational. They could go live in the Ozarks. They could go live in New Zealand. They could live in the American South. They can go live wherever they want to. It doesn't matter. It's just New Zealand is their little hidey hole that they can skip to. Jacinda Ardern has already proven that New Zealanders will live under a total police state, that they're willing to totally shut their borders. It's like this weird little petri dish. So they'll keep New Zealand the way they want it, but they can come and go. They won't be trapped there.
Interesting theories. Well, thank you for calling in. Great call.
All right, cut me loose, player. Bye.
Thank you. Awesome call. Good way to start out. Yeah, I don't agree with I agree with the artwork getting more violent, but the the whole story of blood started with Cain and Abel, when the brother killed his own brother and spilled blood on the ground, cursing it. The blood is what called out for justice, and the Jews had to pour blood of animals onto the Ark of the Covenant to cover over their sins. A lot of blood symbolism back then because it was such a rough time. We live in air conditioning now and comfy houses. Back then, it was a little bit harsher times. But we'll get into that in the next Bible study. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Oh, snap. The Ninja's here. What's going on, Bellagio?
How are you?
I'm pretty excited, you know. A lot of things are happening. Pretty stoked, you know. That Sun and Moon the guy was talking about, that was a great EP for some guy named Moon Man. I remember that. It was pretty cool. What's up with you? How are you feeling about the happenings?
So much. So much is happening that is almost hard to ignore.
Yeah, that's why you got to take a break from it. I went out and did some hunting. Got 33 rabbits. Not Masonic rabbits, but that was a hell of a lot of rabbits, let me tell you.
I saw the pictures. That's really cool. I'm a big fan of hunting.
Oh, that's good because it's what puts food on your table. And that's what people that don't understand. They're like, oh, our food comes from a supermarket. No, not unless you actually, you know, did what you had to do and skinned and cooked your own food. You actually know why God put it there. You know, we're supposed to be, you know, the dominion over the earth and take care of the animals, and they feed us, and we have good times with them, and that's the way things are supposed to work. At least that's what it said in my Bible. What does it say in your Bible? Aren't we supposed to take care of animals and do cool things?
Yeah, we supposed to tend to the vineyard.
That's right. And get drunk with the Spirit of Jesus and not with the wine. I may or may not be accused of doing too much of the latter, but hey, these things happen. You know, it is what it is. Man, like, so we've seen a lot of things going on. Me, you, and the rest of the crew that's in the chat, from World Trade Centers and all this other craziness that's been going on with direct energy weapons in Paradise, you know, California, and all this craziness. They just keep shoving all the freaking happenings at us at one time like we're going to get overloaded. And they're throwing, like, Antifa and their covert false flag operations at the Capitol and stuff. And you look at it, and as soon as CNN talks about that one little part, everybody becomes rioters. Now, we had like 6 months of Black Lives Matters, Antifa-type protests, burn down stuff. What is this? That, along with the whole Hillary's going to win, Trump's going to fucking lose, excuse my language, Trump's going to lose, and that didn't happen. And now we got this Biden pedophile, like he's supposed to, who voted for him? I've talked to people.
I don't know. His live streams can't even get over 1,000 people watching.
Dude, I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense. None of it adds up. Even on the both sides of the you know, left-right pyramid of control are getting pissed off because, you know, they can see through it now. I mean, you see all the shills up on the boards talking about, oh, Q-tard, Trump-tard, blah, it's over, it's done, Heckarino and freaking cut off your penis and all this horrible stuff. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
you must ignore all the noise, put it that way.
Something about sage or some stuff. I don't know. It has some kind of magical powers. But anywho, I just wanted to call, make sure you're still positive and that you're being positive and that your doggo's doing good and your back's doing okay. Is that
everything? Right? Everything's a-okay. Yes, everything's excellent.
That's good. Oh well, amen on that. All right, Ninja, I'm not going to keep you because
before you go though, I want to hear real quick. Tell us how you hunted the rabbit. What tool did you use? Did you trap them? What kind of weapon?
Oh, man, bare hands. Like, I got 2 rabbits by my bare hands. You know, I'm not a felon or nothing, but the fact of the matter is I got them by the bare hands, buddy. Woo, 12-gauge bare hands of nothing but, you know, I don't know, King Solomon's strength or some stuff. Let's just say, like, it was the first time I had done that, and I got to do it with my father. And as you know, he got injured, and you were praying for him, and all he wanted to do was come back and hunt, you know, and all I do is take care of the doggos, you know, so me going out there and hunting with the guys or whatnot, yeah, it worked out. It was an excellent time, you know, spending with my father. You know, you saw the picture, and it was excellent.
I really like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, keep up shit posting on CK because that shit was funny. I love you, Ninja, in Jesus' name.
Have a great one, brother. That's good. Very awesome. Yeah, his dad was crushed by a tree, and the hospitals would not let his family visit because of COVID. Pretty radical stuff, this whole COVID nonsense, and depending on where you live, how radical the oppression gets. Let's see the next couple callers. What time is it? We have time. We have 40 minutes, I think. We're going to come back live tomorrow, too, don't you worry. I think I want to come back live tonight, late night video game, Tarkov stream, maybe. Then tomorrow, another news show. But yeah, Ricky's dad, full recovery. Now they're going hunting together. God bless. That's the power of prayer. That's the moral of that story. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Oh.
Hello. How do you do?
Hello. Oh, this is Bellagio?
Yes, it is. How are you?
Hey, man. Love the show, man.
Thank you.
Oh, man, what a weird time, man.
Tell us your thoughts.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. You know, I checked the chant, you know, the boards, but it's just filled with how the other guy said it noised.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah, you have to take everything with a grain of salt and form your own opinions based on if all the rats are running one direction, you go the opposite direction. That's my biggest theory. So if like all the media outlets and everyone's saying one thing, obviously there was no insurrection. Obviously there was no white supremacist uprising, but all the media outlets say there were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, have you checked out this website called Here's the Evidence?
I have not.
Well, it's basically a catalog of election fraud, COVID fraud, and I think they added a new one that for the rally fraud too.
It's called here'stheevidence.com.
Yeah.
Gotta check that out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I give to all the normies, like people who don't, you know, basically people that are like brainwashed by MSM. They'll give you basically what they heard from the media. You show them this, you know, they either flinch in reaction to like, you ever seen that meme where it's like a Pepe like touching like the third eye of a
Yeah. I like
same
that one.
reaction.
I like that one. Yeah, that's a good website. I'm going to show people after the call. This is cool. So you share this with people, has some good info on this, I see. And this is like the opposite of the fake fact checkers like Snopes. This is like the real fact, like real information here.
Yeah, real information.
Very cool stuff.
I saw right now the what's it called? Well, people are saying Trump conceded, but I honestly the live video wasn't even live. Like, I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it was definitely pre-recorded and edited with a lot of cuts, right?
Yeah, and his face is like color graded orange, like literally. That's how I knew this thing is fake.
Yeah, for people that don't know out there, color grading is what professionals use, photographers use, editors use, and basically the color of Trump's face wasn't just tan orange, it was orange, like.
Yeah, well, I'm not the smartest person, but I know the previous pre-recorded videos by Trump, they put him through an algorithm that detects deepfakes, and they were like almost like 90% fake.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm not smart enough to do that shit, but you know, excuse my language, but
No worries. What else is on your radar? Are you What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Anything? Give us any theory you want. Even aliens coming down.
Well, I keep hearing UFOs or something, or war with China. But honestly, I think not anything till the 22nd. We're gonna see anything about election fraud.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think the 22nd is a big day, but I think tomorrow we're going to see some events, maybe some FF events, maybe by the Democrats, maybe military something, who knows? Or maybe the military will just be there for the next couple of weeks and months and everyone goes back to normal and forgets about it, right? Just the military in DC.
Did you see that like these articles, like basically like MP Ultra, like pre-programming like the National Guard, my attack, Biden.
To like what? Like just saying that they're. I heard something that the FBI is vetting all of them.
Honestly, I'm just gonna wait and see because there's so much information coming in, and then there's so much false information coming in too. I'm not sure what to even think anymore. Like, honestly, I'm just gonna wait and see.
The best thing to do would be to enjoy the rest of your day, play a couple video games if you like that, go on a hike, go fishing, go hunting, go bike riding, whatever you enjoy doing. I would just take a little break until tomorrow. I wouldn't be antsy about it. I definitely wouldn't read any threads that are slide threads, shill threads. Maybe keep an eye out for some whistleblower threads, but
yeah. Well, thank you, Bellagio. Really like your show, man.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you for calling in and watching.
You too.
Yeah, thank you again. Awesome call. Really like that call. I love hearing from everybody, what everyone's opinions are and theories. Let's take a few more. We have half hour. 34 minutes. Yeah, I've been playing more Tarkov lately at night just to unwind, get my head out of the all the crazy info. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Cool. Hey, so I just wanted to call. I get to, for my job, I get to talk to a lot of different folks from a lot of different walks of life. And, I've been kind of like taking the temperature vibe, if you will. And it's interesting because, throughout like.
What kind of, real quick, to take the temperature like vibe, do you like the forehead thermometer or the old fashioned?
Oh, no, none of that. More of a metaphysical,
Oh,
just
okay. I thought you were taking the 1940s butt
No.
thermometer. Okay,
I
go
wouldn't
ahead.
be that guy. They wouldn't hire me to be that guy either.
I get what you're saying, though. You're gauging the people.
I'm gauging them. Yeah, I'm on like 6 or 7 nonsense calls a day. You do a little bit of pre-banter before you actually do like the technical deep dive. So I just think it's interesting because, when we were doing 2020, everybody was like, oh, 2020 sucks. 2020 is a bad year. But there was this sense of like, oh, it'll somehow be over. And I think what's happening right now is a lot of people are realizing that this isn't an isolated event. And when they think about like, tomorrow, there's such a deep sense of anxiety across all spectrums. It's not just, us browsing the boards and shitting around to be like, yeah, this is obviously something happened. This is people who don't watch news. They're completely isolated. They're, either programmers, they work in IT or cybersecurity, or these are just marketers who are just like, yeah, I'm just hunkered down. I think, I talked to a guy who he works in Virginia, doesn't listen to news, doesn't do any of that stuff. And he told me that he and his wife went out and they bought 6 months worth of supplies at Costco, and they weren't the only people doing it. And that's from people that I would never, have that conversation with. And that gets me on the edge because, there's obviously so much going down that, if you tell them to say, did you know there's 35,000 troops in DC, blows their mind. But subconsciously, they're picking up on these signals. That's what I think is the most interesting thing is people who aren't even plugged in are subconsciously feeling a collective I don't know, collective energy. So I just thought that was something that you might get a kick out of.
Very astute. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Everyone, you could just go anywhere you want, the grocery store, anywhere that's open in your town, and anyone you talk to, they will give you a response or a cliche or a comment on the state of the nation or what's going to happen tomorrow or the uneasiness or.
That's so stupid. It's like, oh, just 2020 continue. It's like, yeah, well, if you keep saying that, it's going to be 2020 continue. So, but you pull your head out of your, you know what, and let's just, And the other thing that's kind of happening, like, I'm not sure if, how many people are like in corporate America now, but they're kind of like low key prodding people for conservative views. They'll basically like, oh, that was so crazy at the Capitol. What'd you think about that? And, you kind of know what they're getting at. My response is always, that's wild, right? Let's talk about the product, yeah? And, they'll be like, what do you mean it's wild? And it's like, Jesus, not to curse, but you know how it is. They're just like, it's getting to that point where you almost feel like even in professional America, if you don't have the approved stamp, you kind of get like, nothing overtly.
That's very interesting. So you think that they're kind of, because I see it sometimes as these people are just so in the dark that they're honestly asking you for like, well, what do you think? Like looking for something to grab onto. But you think they might be like interrogating or prodding you for info, maybe.
It's 90% of people who I think are just completely in the dark, and they may perceive to me more in the know than them. And honestly, just the way it goes in the call, because typically what it is we'll get called into like cybersecurity remediations. I'm the guy who will give them and do it for them. So they may, this guy, I don't know. But there is a 10%, like it's typically the woman, unfortunately. No offense to any of them out there, but they're typically doing the let's say the ideological product. What do you mean? It's just wild. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, yeah, I liked it or I didn't like it. Like, I'm not going to give you anything here. I can see what you're going at. And that's about 10% of them did it. I got hit up by HR because on my Slack notification, I have an American flag. HR reached out to me and set up a 30-minute call to talk about inclusiveness. And I said, it's just because I have an American flag on like my emoji. And like, no. I was like, so I only Slack my boss and my friends, and now I'm getting hit up for not showing public. I don't know. It's things like that. I got another strike. Yeah, like why? And that was, I don't know. Maybe that's a rant, but I just think it's the collective zeitgeist is definitely picking up that this is not what they're telling you on the surface. Nobody believes that it's on the surface. Even like my relatives who pay no attention have a deep understanding that this is not what they're being told.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. All walks of life, that people have an uneasiness about the coming change of government, the coming everything with the media and the troops, and it's all, I feel, coming to a head. Put it that way.
It's definitely coming to a head. It's coming to a head in a lot of respects, and it's now's a good time to make like drastic personal changes. I was able to get multiple of my family members and convince them to move. I mean, we live in a state where it's locked. Like, I don't know if people are in lockdown states, but it feels like a juvenile hall here. And I took a trip to some of the more open states, and my first emotion was anger, because I was like, why the hell am I being treated like this? And these guys get to do, they're living life. And in some of these places, we've already hit the iceberg. People are just ignorant of it, and it's like, dude, by the time people collectively wake up, you're going to be stuck holding your bags underwater on a mortgage, and you won't be able to get out. You need to. So if anybody's listening to this and they're like, well, I wanted to get out of this place or get out of the city for a while, A, you should have done it a year ago, but B, there's still time for you to act. If you keep sitting on the fence, no one's going to buy your bags, and if they do, it's going to be at a severely reduced price where you're underwater. So
yeah,
that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
That's very good advice. And yeah, now's the time that if you live in like Democrat-run San Francisco, now's the time to get out. Do your best you can.
Nutty.
Yeah.
I went to San Francisco 6 months ago, and that place it's the biggest paradox. I told somebody, I was going to expect them to be the most locked down, but I didn't wear a mask once in San Francisco. I went golfing. No one said anything to me, and I'd never put on a mask, even when I went to the restaurant. And I thought about it driving home because, I don't live in the city, obviously, but I was thinking, like, you know what? I've been given a harder time in small towns around, small town USA than I was in San Francisco. That could be a little bit of they assume everybody's on their side, so they may just assume that I have a valid reason. But yeah, San Francisco's a hellhole.
Good food, but yeah, I wouldn't want to live there. Put it that way.
It's just good food. That's how you got in this situation. Good food, let them all in, right? We don't know how to make it.
It's like cyberpunk. It's like extreme poor, poverty, heroin needles, and crap on the streets.
Oh, it is.
But amazing
It is.
restaurant, right? Like a couple steps away, right?
It's insane. No, I was
Rich
you're
and-
there. They have permanent structures. The homeless have permanent structures on the side of the California highways, 2 to 3 stories made out of plywood with flags. Like it's an encampment, and they're just drugged out on the side of the road. And it's just
Yeah.
like that. No one's doing anything about it. It's insane. It's. I was driving from. Well, I was on a major California highway, and my wife and I saw no less than 7 meandering homeless people in the center of the road on an interstate highway.
I saw a dead horse once on the side of an LA highway. Like
Yeah,
dead-
LA
dead-
highway is LA is honestly, LA is shocking. I went through Skid Row 3 months ago, and not by chance. I made the mistake of allowing my wife to route me to her friend's house, and I said, it's easy, just you follow the maps. She's like, all right. So I slept, right? And then she like wakes me up and shakes me. It's like, wow, I don't know what's happening. I was like, we're in the middle of Skid Row. It's like, well, how the hell did you get here? I completely routed you the other direction. And it was like 1:30 in the morning. There's things on fire. There's like corpses. It looks like it. I was like, you know, I shut my eyes for, 90 minutes, and we end up in Skid Row. This is like 40 miles off track. And that was an eye-opening experience, to say the least.
Absolutely. I used to live close to there in a loft. And yep, it was pretty shocking. We'll put it that way, that living above that mess. I wasn't on Skid Row, but in the downtown LA area, put it that way.
It's deteriorated so rapidly.
Oh God, yeah. When I was there, it was going through massive regeneration, and then the new mayor came in and destroyed everything. But yeah, that's what happens with these Democrats. What's your predictions for tomorrow, though? I want to hear. What do you think is going to happen?
I think tomorrow is definitely going to be chaos. I couldn't give you an accurate prediction. I mean, I'm the type of person where, I've looked at the data. I'll go back and forth where I'm like, oh, well, this is obviously happening, or, oh, no, it's not happening. My gut feeling is ever since this whole Biden thing that came up, I was like, the guy's a wet noodle. This obviously isn't happening. He's clearly senile. That's been my gut since I saw, he was honestly a little wacky from the Obama administration. Now he's clearly senile. So
Yeah.
I've never, when I look at him, I was like, this, all your friends will be like, oh, look at this gun stuff. And it's like, this isn't going to happen. That's just my gut feeling. It's not going to happen. I don't see him in power at all. If it is, it'll be for such a short duration of time. It'll be a footnote in history. I don't know. I don't have any concern. I'm not worried. I've moved my assets. I've gotten myself to a situation where I think is sustainable. When I look at it, I'm not concerned, and I genuinely there's no gut feeling in me where I say, yeah, Joe Biden or the Kamala Harris administration I need to be worried about. But that's just my take, right?
Yeah. I like it. I like everyone's opinion. Good take.
Cool. Well, I'll let you get going. You got other guys to talk to.
All right. Well, thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks.
Great call. I wanted to ask him about XRP. He sounds like he knows a thing or two about crypto. I am officially an XRP schizo. I'm all in. No, I'm not all in. I'm kidding. I think I invested $40 worth of Chainlink, $50 worth of Ethereum, $30 US, and a bunch of donations from you guys that sent me XRP to join the XRP army of the 13 monkeys. Oh, man. You're on the air, caller.
Hey, Bellagio.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This is right-wing cyber shogun.
Hey, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. I'm glad I can hear you continue to do good work and continue to praise the name of Christ.
I'm happy to hear it. How is your training going?
Pretty good, man. We are thankful for the situation that we have because when all this lockdown nonsense happened, it barely affected us in how we were able to operate. So
Very good.
Getting away from the traffic of being on the grid has its benefits.
I like it. Tell us some information that you know. You have the floor while I smoke a Cuban.
All right. Well, one of the things that I've seen going on is that my boss is waving at me from the window. I stepped out of the office to give you all a call, but he can handle it. One of the things I've seen is, they got so many National Guard troops pouring into DC that they can barely handle the air traffic to do it. I think the National Guard presence is a set piece for some type of event that will cause a psychic shock, much like what happened with the towers before the Patriot Act was put in place, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, and you have the FEMA and the Nuclear Council of America, whatever they're called. They just updated the nuclear procedure, right? Fallout, new little cute cartoons, and go hide under a desk, all that stuff, right?
Right, and that's, silly. The desk won't help you, by the way. You better get outside and look at it if you can see it, because you're not going to make it.
You don't want to look at it, though. Don't stare directly into anything.
well, I mean, if you think hiding under a desk is going to help you, it won't. And if you think hiding under a desk is necessary for the danger that you're in, you might as well just go out and look at it before you get blasted.
Good point. That's actually it's a valid point.
But as far as what the last caller was saying, he's not concerned about the Biden-Kamala administration.
Well, he said he's not concerned with what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think he said he's worried about them, but he's not really concerned about tomorrow except chaos, right? I think he said.
Right, and chaos is a thing for sure. I hopefully not. I secretly hope that we have those National Guard signed in as U.S. Marshals so that they can detain all the bad actors.
Yeah.
That's my hope. I don't think it's going to happen, but at the same time, my clock is the Bible, and there are certain prophecies that need to be fulfilled before the Antichrist shows up.
Yes.
One of the main things you need to be looking out for is when they start doing the sacrifices for the Jewish festivals. They've been practicing for it, doing mock sacrifices
with the red heifer, right?
Right. They this Passover, they're getting ready to sacrifice the Passover lamb. Christ is our Passover lamb. Doing that is an abomination and spitting in God's eye. And that is going to be kind of a marker in time for us to know how close we are towards the end. Because the Antichrist can't show up until the sacrifices have begun, because the Antichrist shows up and stops them at some point.
Interesting.
So you gotta, and that's in Daniel.
Yeah.
You can read this in Daniel and Revelation. I'm not making up some crazy cult gobbledygook,
Yes.
So that's one thing to look out for, and they're getting close to it, but they haven't done it yet. I don't think Biden's, the Antichrist. I don't think Kamala's the Antichrist. Certainly the Antichrist spirit operates through them, but they are not the candidate for the one world government leadership. I think everyone needs to buckle up and get ready for hard times, and there's still a few moments to get oil in your lamps to be ready to wait and ride this out.
I like, so yeah, I see what you're saying, that we're not quite at the time yet of Christ's return. You don't think that Biden's the Antichrist, Kamala, and events that are taking place, these global events, have to occur before the return of God.
Right.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, and also before the return of Christ, it gets real bad. It says that if he didn't return and cut all the garbage short, all flesh would perish. So it could get real bad real quick. One of the things that people keep overlooking is in Matthew, when Yeshua, Jesus, is talking about what's going to happen at the end, he talks about a major earthquake that moves every mountain and island out of its place. This coincides with what one of your callers were talking about with the grand solar minimum, the weakening of the magnetic fields, potential pole flip that could cause a massive earthquake. And in the wake of a global disaster like that, that would allow a lot of things to take place. Right now, all this pandemic nonsense, I used to think it was cover for all the elites and global organizations getting their assets ready for an asteroid impact. I've now reevaluated and think they're getting ready for the pole flip.
Yeah, that would scientifically explain a great earthquake that moves every continent, huh?
I mean, Jesus says that there's going to be a global earthquake like that in Matthew 24, I think.
You are right. Yes.
A lot of people gloss over that. Like, if there's an earthquake that does that, all the cities are wrecked, all the everything's wrecked, and everyone's going to be running with their hands out, saying, "Please, please, please, my money isn't worth anything anymore. Put that chip in me and hook me into the system so I can get back to my consumer lifestyle, because I have no idea how to work in tandem with God's creation anymore. I'm just a consumer."
That would be a dark winter scenario for sure, but it's also biblical because it is going to get worse before it gets better in terms of a true savior coming, Jesus returning to save his people. It's going to get, there might be a couple more Bidens and Harrises,
Exactly. That's, a lot of people are, saying like, "Oh, this is it. And it's like, this might not be it. Maybe we're just starting to dip our foot in the pool. Maybe we're at the part of the roller coaster where it's just started to go down the first drop. Like, after it goes down the first drop, yeah, it's scary, but then it gets nuts. There's loops and twists. And, if you don't keep your seatbelt on, you fly out and get decapitated. Who knows?
It's true.
So,
radical.
Anyways, your
radical ideas. I love
Christ.
it. It all revolves around Jesus. Even with these New World Order and Hollywood and the elite, they believe in Satan. They worship Satan. And we have intellectuals out here tipping their fedora to you, making fun of you because we're reading a book and worshiping someone on a stick.
Yeah. And I totally get it. That makes sense to me. I spent some time, wondering what the heck. I've seen Christianity used as a tool of control and a tool of corruption and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's some garbage. Look at the Catholic Church. Look at the Vatican. It's all, terrible stuff. And then I spent some time looking at okay, what about these government people? What are they doing? They're in the middle of the woods with robes on in front of a giant owl statue doing mock sacrifices. And they promote all this, evil stuff, and they rail against anything Christian. Like my political opponents hate anything having to do with Christ, and they fight it every step of the way. So, I mean, if it was just a silly desert book, then I don't think the Democrats and the degenerates would be attacking Christianity so much. They'd be also attacking all the other religions as well.
The whole world would be part of it. There'd be pro-Christian movies on HBO. Bill Maher would be a Christian. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. So it is a line in the sand. You either serve God or you serve Satan. And if you aren't serving God, you are serving Satan. It just there's no in between. And so I encourage anyone listening who doesn't have a personal relationship with Christ to do so. And it's not a religion, it's a relationship. It's praying, getting to know him, reading the word, and seeing what he wants you to do with your life. It's not about following a bunch of rules. Rules are important. He's got a top 10 list of 10 commandments, but it's about a relationship.
And faith, and that's the most important, having faith. And there's 640 laws in the Bible. You're the top 10 or the Big 10 or the Big 10, but there's no way to keep all those laws,
No, but you can keep the top 10.
We need Jesus,
Yes. Amen to that. Well, I
Well,
gotta
thank
let
you
go.
for
I'm getting
calling. That was
rained
great
on.
advice. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bellagio. I'll talk
Always
to you
good
later.
to hear from you. Thank you. Keep calling in.
Oops.
Always good to hear. Very good call. Very good theories. More Chinese telemarketers trying to spam me. Let's see what the next call is. How much time do we have? We got time for one more call. Then we're gonna wind down, land the plane, come back tomorrow, maybe tonight for some gaming. We'll see. Tomorrow for news for sure. If the internet works, if there's no blackout, right? Like the whole. See. We've heard a lot of good theories so far. What's going to happen tomorrow? We have over 100 people watching across all 3 channels. We are on Twitch. We are on DLive. We are on YouTube. All my links are in the descriptions below. On YouTube, Central Happenings Network 2 or CHN 3 or Bellagio Sampler Games. 3 different channels on YouTube. Based Bellagio on Twitch, CHN on DLive, I'm pretty sure. Is it CHN2 on DLive? CHN on DLive, that's it. What? Interesting information I'm reading right now. 1 second. Very good conversations you guys are having in chat. Uh-oh, if I don't have the window up for the calls, like on the forefront, it won't ring. Isn't that stupid? Church of Satan Church Halloween House in Poughkeepsie, New York was just burned down. Satan Church Halloween. I gotta Google that, look that up. Poughkeepsie, isn't that where Snooki is from? Snooki? Guy ran up, dumped gas on porch, and lit it up. Wow. So was it a Halloween exhibit from Halloween? Or it's like a real like Church of Satan? Like QRD us, give us red pill us in chat. Let us know. Is it like an actual Church of Satan location? Unbelievable. Somebody check where Varg Vilkernes is. Is Varg still in France or is he lighting churches on fire again? Someone check on Varg. We're taking one more call. Crap, the window's not up. Let's see. I don't think I missed a call. Let's pull this window up real quick while we wait. Anons are saying that it is a deep fake. They're already calling it out as a deep fake. Yada yada, orange glow. We were saying it too. Just the whole idea that it's not live, a live address. This is the first time in the history of America that it's at least not like taped within 5 minutes, because nothing's ever truly live anymore. You know what I'm saying? But this was like completely pre-recorded, edited with cuts. When if the president made a mistake, they would cut. Okay, yeah, from the top, take it and rolling. You know what I'm saying? Like completely weird, guys. Yeah, right-wing cyber shogun with an amazing call. I think you have a good heart, and because you are a Christian, we're brothers. We're brothers. We were part of that Twitter group. When you left, it was horrible. And I think in my anger, I think I said you were a Fed. In my anger, though, I prefaced. But if that's the case, you're our boy, you're our guy. But I don't even think that anymore. I just think you're a good old boy. A good old boy, put it that way. But yeah, that Twitter group was pure shit. You don't even know half the story. I would love to tell you, fill you in. But the same tactics that are being used on this website, we've seen years before they implemented it. They call the area the Witchcraft District. Rick James says Snooki is from Marlborough. Isn't it a monster in Final Fantasy series? Final Fantasy 7, the Marlboro, it's like a giant Medusa thing, right? What, like, close to it. The name is close. Church of Satan's Halloween house gutted by arsonist is the New York Times headline. Oh. This is breaking news, guys, from the audience. I like it. Biden's live streaming from his basement with the tweet. What's going on? Is he really? I'll cut to the live stream. Let me look for it behind the scenes. We'll take a quick look over there. No one wants to call the last time, or am I goofing up? Am I goofing up the calls? Or did Google shut the phone off? What's going on here? I don't think anyone's calling in. The last call is open, wide open. Wide open. The Ghislaine Maxwell hearing is going on right now. People were watching that. Where is Joe Biden hiding? Where are you, Joe? We have to have a little fun lately. That's why do your hobbies. Ricky Radness going hunting. I love to hear that, especially with the story and with going hunting with his father. Great stuff. I'm still trying to figure out if he Lenny and George did of Mice and Men, if he strangled the rabbit to death or if he 12 gauge shotgunned it. I'm still trying to figure out. Did you Lenny the shotgun? I mean, did you Lenny the rabbit? Don't choke the shotgun, God forbid. Never mishandle your weapons. I'm not seeing any I'm seeing Dr. Disrespect, but not Joe Biden. No Joe Biden stuff. Not seeing that. So yeah, if there's not going to be any more calls, we will shut the phone lines down. Those were some amazing calls. We're going to come back tomorrow with more news, more happenings, and more calls. We might take calls tomorrow too, so if you missed out today, don't worry. You'll get an opportunity tomorrow. There's a chance I might be back tonight on this channel for a video game stream. Maybe the main channel, Central Happenings Network 2. But we still have 2 strikes over there, and even video games could push it over. So if we do go live, it'll be here, Twitch, and D Live. This has been a really good show. A lot of good information. Amazing calls. I want you guys to know that tomorrow, no matter what happens, we have each other. We have friends that we've made along the way. None of this was in vain. Trump did a lot of good stuff in his presidency. Don't let them demoralize you. Don't let them lie. Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to lie. Donald Trump did more for this country than any president. Get some music on. All I say is North Korea, shills. Name your favorite CCP president, like Mitt Romney, George Bush. Where was your guy? Did he ever meet with North Korea openly? Donald Trump was a great president. He still is a great president. We're going to find out what happens tomorrow. Love it. I'm going to look up this Devil Church of Satan house. I'm going to look that up. We'll cover it tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. If Black Eagle's in the house, he can open up the Discord if he wants. It's up to him. If not, he will be in the show tomorrow, or one of my Discord mods, and we will decide tonight if we're going to open up the Discord again. It's a very niche Discord. It's not a free-for-all. There's a lot of work, a lot of research, and there is some fun too to be had. But it's a unique mix. You have to answer a certain set of questions. You must acknowledge Jesus. Just at the very least, like the Encyclopedia Britannica. If the Encyclopedia Britannica can acknowledge Jesus, then you need to take off your fedora and do the same if you want to be in our Discord. Pretty funny. But guys, what an amazing set of callers. You guys are amazing listeners, amazing viewers. Help share the show. Give Give it a thumbs up and be amazing supporters. Rick James says he PayPal'd me $50. Hope you got it. Well, if you did, I did. And I just haven't got the email or update yet, which is normal. But thank you in advance in the event you are not trolling me. You guys are really, really kind. And $50, I haven't got it yet, but I'm gonna pretend I did because I always get blessed randomly when I'm off show. Someone just randomly sends us a PayPal or something. So thank you, Rick James. Thank you, my Patreons. Thank you, Mystery Anon, that gave us some good XRP, and the other Christian Mystery Anon that always blesses us with PayPals and keeps the internet bill easier and easier. Thank you very much. Your contributions help out. You guys are awesome. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Find Jesus.
Bye.